Fanspeak, where the plan runs deep. The team grind hard, don't eat, don't sleep. From best ball dreams to DFS streaks, they help you print money every single week. Fanspeak. No cap, no gimmicks, we breaking limits. NFL bets, yeah, we live this business. Megan Steve, that OG vision. Draft room killers on a lifelong mission. More stress to the Sunday spread. Fanspeak's that voice that's inside your head. Best ball, DFS, NFL bets. They built it brick by brick, no regrets. Fanspeak team, printing money since day one. Fanspeak, forever.
Welcome back. We're another episode of Talking Ball with Steveospeak. We are in the midst of the Combine Week. We're getting rumors, we're getting reports, we're getting stuff about the draft, stuff about free agency, cuts, trades, everything. So I wanted to start on Twitter, looking at, Underdog's NFL thing. They do a pretty good job getting some of the highlights that are out there. One of the first news and notes is Schefter saying the Panthers are getting calls about Andy Dalton for a potential trade. I'm sure he got that report somewhere. I have no idea who would actually do that. So I did find that amusing. Yesterday we heard about the Tyson Badgett trade rumors. I can see that one. I am not so sure about Andy Dalton. I would have thought Andy Dalton would be hanging it up after his game last year versus the Bills was one of the most horrendous things I think we all watched. Then Todd Monken on Shedeur Sanders. I think what you see is elite playmaking ability. That's in him. Another one that I'll say I'm a little skeptical. I get what is he going to say right now, and that's kind of how I read that. But it sounds like they're trying to acquire, a quarterback one way or another. That's what a lot of reports are. So right now he's singing Shedeur's praise. Not sure if that is going to maintain. This isn't offensive fantasy related, but kind of in the overall picture, Bears could look to trade Tremaine Edmonds. They need to get under the cap. I think this is a big reason why I believe DJ Moore is gone. Even with an Edmonds trade or DJ Moore trade, they still have some work to do. So it sounds like both things could be occurring. This is the big one, this news that came out this morning. And others, I saw Rap and others talk about it, and Malik Willis expected to get at least a $30 million per year average. That's Sam Darnold money. That's what Sam Darnold signed for last year. So for a guy who has just a couple of starts these past couple of years with the Packers, that's a pretty big jump. Would I be shocked if that occurs? No. Justin Fields got $20 million. I figured that was more the ballpark he was in last year or coming into this year. But of course, I think the difference is here, there's just not a lot of good options out there in such a weak draft class. So I think that helps Malik Willis's money. My guess is the guaranteed is going to end up being less than, say, Darnold. But that's some serious money. So that could definitely keep, the Dolphins, who are one of the rumored favorites for Malik Willis, out of it. They just don't have money, particularly after they get rid of Tua. Probably keeps the Browns out of it as well. Vikings could be tough for them. Arizona probably comes the lead favorite, because if they are getting rid of if they are trading Kyler, which was another report that's come out, and maybe trading Brissett as well, they will have plenty of money. I kind of think Arizona is probably the favorite for Malik Willis. Jets, though, I don't know if he signs there, and then Steelers, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, and then probably Vikings. It's kind of how I'd break it down. Falcons could be in the mix also, but the whole Michael Penix thing, I figured they're looking more for like the 1-year veteran types. Let me hit up chat, and then we will get into drafts. I updated my rankings, included Kyler Murray and Malik Willis, moved both of them up a pretty big jump. Just wanted to reflect where I think what they should be given their fantasy upside. We got Mike Rob checking in. Yep, I'm back. I will be doing a show tomorrow. Though that will be a little earlier. I'll probably do it 11 a.m. Eastern time, kind of like right after Chai Candles, and probably a quicker show because I got some things going on in the afternoon. We got who's checking in. What's up, fam? Mike Rob wants to know: do you think mints are candy? No, unless it's like, like specifically type of mint candy combo. We got Stephen WC checking in, GM everyone. Meg checking in. Very happy that I put the music on in the background today. Idzik. Yeah, this came out yesterday. And when it came out, because the way the Twitter report didn't say like handing over, I thought that Canales had called plays the last couple of years. He had, I looked it up afterwards. So Idzik will now be another first-time play caller. I don't expect me, obviously massive shifts in Carolina philosophy, but maybe it's a good thing. I'm sure Canales is still going to have a major role and impact, but maybe just a lot can help Bryce Young's development. Bryce Young with Canales looked better than his rookie year, but it's still a lot of growing pains. And it seemed last year when I was doing shows with Hames, we'd talk about this. Carolina would be like, a lot of times they were like a second half team. Like the first half, they'd look awful. Sometimes vice versa. And also the other issue, when they, Rico Dowdle's first couple big games were without Chuba Hubbard. When Hubbard came back, they tried to force it a little too much. They were actually looking their best when they'd give Dowdle a bigger workload. So there just seemed to be a lot of conflicting philosophy going on last year with Carolina. So maybe they can come up with a better streamlined game plan going forward. Good GAB checking in. GMGA, GE, best ball fam. Yes, mints are candy. Paulino, I watched the polls presser and local interview you did. He stressed they were going to have to make difficult decisions multiple times. So Moore is definite one to watch. Yeah, I did see some of the quotes from Ryan Polls presser, and no, I think that's it. Like they have some key defensive backs who are free agents. I think they need to figure out still a little bit on the offensive line, and I think it's just DJ Moore is just luxury that they can't afford to have, in my opinion. And I think Tremaine Edmonds is another one. I mean, Edmonds had a good year for them last year, but I think they'd rather bring some of those DBs back. Never trust somebody named Brad. Do you think Moore potentially out in Chicago is good for him? I do. I think there's a lot of, in Chicago, he's one of these three receivers and they have an elite tight end. There's nothing, I don't think they're going to scheme their offense through DJ Moore. Like, are there games where, when Odunze was a little banged up or Burton was a little banged up, that he got more? Absolutely. And could that still continue? Yes. But again, Odunze's entering his third year, Burton entering his second year, Loveland entering his second year. So I think Moore, it was going to get more and more phased out in Chicago, particularly if all those guys stay healthy. And he goes somewhere or else he could be the number one receiver, or at least the number two option. Maybe that team is a really good tight end. He goes to the Bills. He's the number two, him and Kincaid are kind of like the number two. And, it's not like a clear elite number one if he were to go to the Bills, but it would be a massive upgrade, I think, for a situation. And, or like a team like the 49ers are another one. They are, George Kittle's come back from major injury. Brandon Ayuk, they say they're going to trade him. Good luck seeing a market there. Juwan Jennings is a free agent. They have Ricky Pearsall, but that's about it. So yeah, I think those kind of situations, or, he might be a guy who goes to a weaker team, but even there, he could be truly established as the number one. We got Chad Candles check in. GM, Steve, hope you're doing well, Chad. Let's go over to Underdog and get into the first draft today. Definitely want to do at least 2, maybe get a third in, depending on how things are going. Mike Robb asking, will it be a better spot to get more targets for more in Baltimore? So that would be one that's a little tougher. I still think he could be okay. I know you're not going to like this answer, but I think it hurts Zay Flowers more than it hurts DJ Moore. And it's great quarterback, and you have Andrews there as well, but he can still maintain himself in the top 3. The problem is they're likely to be one of the least throwing teams in the NFL. So total volume hurts. Now, you're just relying on Lamar's elite efficiency at that point, which can help. But these other teams we talked about, 49ers, Bills, have elite efficiency also. All right, let's get into a big board. I'm going to count it down. If there's any other news people want to shout out, talk about, definitely I'm here for it. This is the fun time. And also we already have gotten, before I jump in, we have already gotten some back and forth at certain combine stories. Like yesterday when I was on with Huhames, somebody said, Schefter was reporting that the 49ers could be looking to trade Trent Williams. And then every report since has talked about, we're talking it through, we're working it out, we believe positive dialogue, all this kind of stuff. Same with, there was a report from Monty Ossenfort's, the Cardinals GM's press conference, where he kind of alluded that, he didn't say it directly if you read the quote, but he alluded that they've been talking with Kyler, and then it came out they haven't talked with Kyler. And what he was saying is we've had essentially internal discussions, but there's a lot of this like he said, she said sort of stuff. So it can be tough to cut through it a little bit, but that's what can be fun, and I think can give us some edges if we do a good job with that. All right, let's jump in. I'm going to count it down, entering in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. Buffalo needs a fancy slot like DJ Moore. The thing is, Moore can play at least outside. Like, he's not just a slot only. So he has inside-outside ability, which is, he would not be their ideal. Like, I could, there's obviously like plenty of better receiver options for Buffalo, and at least he can offer a vertical threat. Went for plan words and got my Zay Love slapped down out of nowhere. Sorry, Mike. Let's see. I am sitting in the 11th spot. We got Grandy in here at 10, King QC at 12. That is all I know that's in here. But if anyone else is in here, stop in and say hi. Huhames, I posted a 1.0 pre-draft mock, had some interesting landing spots, fun to make. Steve said no more. Yeah. We got B Grandy saying hi. Hope you're doing well. Good luck in this draft. Where, Huhames, did you post that in your Discord? Where did you post that? I know you talked about doing a video. If you did a video, sorry, I haven't. I've been busy today, haven't checked it out. But let us know. I do think the Ravens are going to add a receiver. As I said before, for Zay's sake, I hope it's more a rookie, because I do think a veteran creates more of an potential issue. But it sounds like the Ravens are prioritizing receiver this offseason. now I'm coming up for the 11th spot. I have, small tweak, but I moved Justin Jefferson up to the 10th spot in my ranks. I still have Cook ahead of him at 7, so that's enough of value that we're going to take that here. But it just sounds more and more Justin Jefferson is going to get his veteran quarterback. He's going to get a quarterback who knows to throw him the football. So I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with Justin Jefferson now at the back half of the first round. Cook, though, is tough to pass up. So I'll go Genty. That aligns, very well with my ranks and ADP. And I know there was some discussion in our Discord the other day about the Raiders' offensive line. You want to see it before you believe it, and that's fair. That's fair. They need to address a lot of holes, and they do have a ton of money to do it. But we want to see those holes get addressed before we just assume that they're going to end up with a much better O-line. I still just think that, generally when a team's drafting a young quarterback, you see them add, offensive line help. 2 years ago when Washington was drafting Jaden Daniels, they signed Tyler Biadasz, and another free agent whose name is escaping me right now. And then they drafted, they didn't have, as many picks, but then they drafted Brandon Coleman. Like they showed a priority to it. Was it the full answer they needed? No, of course not. That's why last year they had to go out and get Larry Tunsil. I just think generally it makes sense for the Raiders to prioritize the offensive line. So that's my hope. And I honestly think, also talked about this a lot with 2 games yesterday, is the Raiders offense was just so bad. It was beyond belief bad last year. Chip Kelly was just in over his head. Like, it was not an NFL functioning offense. There was all these complaints coming out about that. And then of course he gets fired, 2/3 of the way into the year. Quarterback play was just awful. I just think across the board, we're looking at a situation where the Raiders can be improved, and it doesn't have to be like massive improvements for Genty to pay off. As long as even if they're just a below average offense, Genty could still be worth 14 overall. Flyfish checking in. Flacco to Min to spam Jetta's targets. Yeah, I mean, that is, and here's how I feel about it, is that's probably like the least they will do. And I really think there's a chance Kyler via trade, Malik Willis. Like I said, it's tough for them with the cap. They are over the cap as is, but they have a lot of ways to get under the cap and get under by a significant portion. There's a lot of money, including Justin Jefferson's contract, that they can just, renegotiate, and not renegotiate, but, get a massive cap savings and push money towards the future. A team like the Browns doesn't have that ability. The only guy that they can do that with is Deshaun Watson, literally the one guy that they can't do it with because they need to cut him after this year. So to me, and it's not just Justin Jefferson, it's like Jonathan Allen, Brian O'Neill, Darisaw, etc. There's a lot of guys that they can do that with, a couple guys they can cut, one or two they may be able to trade. Browns also just don't have those kind of options. Same with the Dolphins. They've already cut those guys and they're still in a bad cap situation. Let's do T. I've just continued to move Rice down I just don't want to be in a position where I'm taking him. Just still highly suspect something's going to come out of this. But yeah, back to Minnesota. I think Flacco's like their third fallback option. Like I think you after Kyler and Willis, I think you'd have Cousins in the mix. Let's go. You know what? We'll do it for Mike. We're going to take a Zay Flowers share. I have him a little lower than this, but I'm taking Zay Flowers share. I wish Lamar would come back. Every now and then he will. It's unlikely though. And just finishing up Minnesota, even if not Cousins, like whether it's Carr coming out of retirement or Geno Smith, honestly, anything's better. But yeah, I think Flacco would know the assignment. And I say this because Carson Wentz knew the assignment last year. You look at the 5 games with Wentz, and Jefferson had his highest targets per game, catches per game, yards per game. It's very simple. And with 9 and Brosmer, he was pretty bad. We got Bindles checking in. Appreciate that. Paulino did it for Rob. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it could happen. Like, I think I'm not mistaken, I had to look it up. In 4 of the 5 Carson Wentz games, he had over 10 targets. And if you extrapolate, because he averaged over 90 yards a game, like 94, 95 yards, he would have been like wide receiver 2 or 3 in terms of yards on the year. He was just massively brought down by those JJ games in Brosmer. So sign me up for seriously any veteran quarterback for Justin Jefferson. Like that keeps him in the first round range. Like truly, if we were to get 17 games of JJ McCarthy, Justin Jefferson would not be worth a 5th round pick. Like he would have not averaged 900 yards last year. That's not good. And you can't tell me that their game plan every week was not to feature Justin Jefferson. Yeah, well, no, I took Zay. I took him this morning, a couple slow drafters, just because I do think he can rack up catches, and it's the touchdown upside that always worries me here. But I do want to have a little bit more Zay this year. I do need to find a sweet spot where I can get him and Lamar together. It's not, they kind of go a little too close to one another, that it can be tougher to get. So I started balance 2-2, and we will see how this next pick is very much looking to be a receiver. 2 guys not working out fully at the combine, Lemon and Tyson, who Eames and I both talked about them the other night, or last night. I like Christian Watson a lot, but I'm going to take Cortland Sutton. No, I think, and he's right. Like, this is not a diva move. Like, Justin Jefferson should be in Kevin O'Connell's office, calling his phone every day, like, who's throwing me the ball? Who's throwing me a ball? And this is not like a quarterback being a diva, because they are a functional, better team. Their only chance to win games, I know they had 9 wins last year, but their best chance to win games, be a playoff team, is for Justin Jefferson to be a star. You know, particularly, it's not like they have some elite running game or anything either. You know, they won last year because they're really good defense. I mean, we saw that, you know, that 7 turnover game against the Lions where, you know, Jordan Addison ran for a end around reverse touchdown, basically won the game, but they couldn't throw the ball. No, and this is, you know, like, I know Darnold just won the Super Bowl with Seattle, so shows his level of value, but the Vikings won 5 more games a year before, and Justin Jefferson was one of the best receivers in the league. The difference of Darnold to, you know, what it was. And honestly, I don't think they would have won 9 games if McCarthy's probably playing the whole season. You know, Wentz, he won a couple tough games. So, you know, I think they know in Minnesota. I think that's what, of course, would happen with pushing, you know, the GM out. He maybe wasn't as fully on board. And I think sometimes it's these coaches, they see that. You know, I told the story before where after the, you know, and it was a great rookie season with RG3, but the Shanahans, essentially, the report is they went to Dan Snyder and said, we really think we can win with Kirk Cousins. We can develop him. He can be the guy. You know, RG3 is coming out this injury, but his value is still high. We can trade him, recoup a lot of draft picks. And Dan Snyder basically said no. And now the rest is history. All these other teams have playoff and Super Bowl caliber coaches. And RG3 is, you know, not in the league, and Kirk Cousins still is. So, you know, the Shanahans were pretty right on that one. So coming up here, 1, 2, 3. I like getting Burrow. Just, you know, it's easier to get Burrow with Higgins than it is with Chase, which is a little unfortunate, but still a great combo. I will take. No, I'm going to go. I don't have a lot of Michael Wilson. I'll take a shot here. It's fallen a little bit. I think there should probably be a bigger gap between him and Harrison still, but he's at least falling. Yeah, Meg saying, Dan Snyder said, no, thank you. Shanahan's nailed it. We could have had Kyle, but we've had like 10. I don't know what she's finishing here. Like 10 coaches. It's not that many, but I'm going to take Tony Pollard. I considered Monangai. I haven't heard much from the Titans in the running back room, and that kind of leads me to think that they're going to probably keep Pollard. Back-to-back 1,000-yard years for them. He's been fine. They just need the offense to improve, and that was it. That was what the Titans being one of the worst offenses in the league the last 2 years. So, and Brian Dable can just get them, again, another situation just to below average. What could Tony Pollard be? So, but I do like Monangai in that range as well. I do enjoy getting a good share of Bears exposure. So let's go back to the board here. B Grandy is at 0341, King QC 1331, and I'm seeing at 134. Not overall. I did mention Willis and Kyler moved up. I mentioned Justin Jefferson. More I'm doing it as I see them, but obviously there's been other good conversation as well. A number were just small tweaks, like move Kyle Pitts back up a few spots now that he's franchised. Not massive. I think it was like half a round, maybe a bit more. Tweaked a couple other things in the mid-tier. And then later I adjusted a couple rookie ranks. Like I was just way ahead on Jeremy Bernard, moved him down slightly. Well, I still like him. I think he's got a wider range than some other guys and will need a good landing spot. Tweaked a couple like Adam Randall and Jacoby Lane and a few of these other rookies into more not really drafting. I moved Eli Stowers up. I believe he talked about this with names yesterday. We both believe he can have a good combine week. I think with that, he could secure himself a second round pick. It still depends on what team he ends up, how viable it is, but second round pick, I should feel good about wanting to get some more exposure. Meg mentioning and linking for my rankings. Let me make it pick. I'll go Dalton Kincaid, get a tight end here. I already have some Buffalo correlation, so it's like a team. Just take players from good teams. Always seems like a simple strategy, but I do think it's the right. There's a lot of value to it. Make this next pick and I'll get back to chat. So I'll take Bo Nix, get my second quarterback. But yes, my rankings are updated. You can find them on our Substack. You can sign up to test it out for a 7-day free trial, but it is a one-time payment for an entire year for our rankings, articles, all our content throughout. Who I'm saying he's been moving Stowers up a bit. Yeah, I think just to me, and I know like PPR Tyler says he believes Stowers is tight end 1. To me, I think Sadiq's tight end 1, but I think Stowers is getting close to tight end 2. He's pretty locked in tight end 2, or should be. And then I think there's a gap. I think you can make cases for whether it's Trigg or Max Clare or Jackie Arendez or some of these other guys, Sam Roush, etc. But I think there's a gap there. So I think really I'm going to take. I've said this for a while, and I'm way behind on Sadiq. I said one time I'd be okay being 8% on Sadiq. I'm like 2%, just because, partly because the rest of the tight end market has fallen as well. So it's like, okay, Sadiq's fallen a little bit, but so is Mark Andrews, so is AJ Barner, so has Hunter Henry, so has Dalton Schultz and some of these other guys. So with them not moving or moving in the wrong direction, I'm not getting a ton of Sadiq, but I'm okay with Sadiq, and Stowers is another one like I'm okay with. Both honestly end up being landing spot dependent. I think that's my biggest thing. Like I'm just particularly until we see where some of these free agents land. If the free agents take most of the viable spots, then I'll be even less in on these rookies. Kicks with Sean the Scatterboo love. And who I'm seeing, he's got 3% Sadiq, so very in line with where I'm at. I did we talked about this a little yesterday, Hayden Wink's mock draft. He had Sadiq to Denver. I think that's a great fit for him. If he lands there, I'll be a little interested. Denver It's a good offense. Evan Ingram, didn't get a lot of touchdowns, had almost 500 yards in a part-time role. I could see Sadiq doing better than that, even as a rookie. And I'm coming up, get back into chat. I'm at 2341. So B. Grandy takes my guy Emmett Johnson. Can't fault him for that. Let me take Malik Willis here. Get my third quarterback. I think both him and Kyler are undervalued right now. I truly think both should be going ahead of Mendoza, Stroud, all these other guys. And to me, I could get another tight end. I could get Debo have been the one receiver, or my top receiver, but I'm actually fine with Romeo Doubs or Shaheed. I think I'm about even on both, so let me just take another Romeo Doubs share. And let's get back to the board. I'm saying I have something interesting in Denver. Let me just tease this a little bit. Let me bring it up. His Twitter. Definitely check it out. And I'm guessing he's streaming today. So let's see. So Denver. Oh, he has Eli Stowers going to Denver, sneaking in the first round. I love that. Index of suspicion checking in. Mendoza. I do like Mendoza. My thing is, rookie quarterbacks, even though we've seen better performances from rookie quarterbacks outside of Jaden 2 years ago and, Bo Nix as a rookie, even what we consider good rookie seasons end up being more like quarterback 20, 15, if it's really good. Because we grade rookie seasons essentially on a curve. And every now and then we have these elite rookie seasons that are as good as anyone, like Jaden's a couple years ago. But, I could see Mendoza being, quarterback 20, quarterback 18, and maybe return a little value. But a guy like Kyler Murray, who in 6 of his 7 years has finished quarterback 12 or better in points per game, just offers more spike week upside, offers more, potential. I know he doesn't have many full seasons under his belt, but, even if he plays 12 games, as my quarterback 3, and same with Malik Willis, obviously similar skill set. Yes, we don't have a track record of him over a course of a full season, but we've gotten some fun glimpses these last 2 years, and I'm sure there'll be some rocky moments as well, but I just think you're getting more potential upside. Who I'm saying, what do you think the Raiders GM saying he doesn't love starting a rookie quarterback? Yeah, that interesting. I mean, definitely seemed honest. Let's take James Conner here first. I do need catch-ups on a running back. And don't love where it's at. Just looking at these 3 positions, by my ranks at Spears, Jones, Tucker. So King QC goes Kelsey. That would have been my pick. I think I will go Spears. Meg, I know, is talking about this. Some handcuffing backfields, and we don't know for sure this is what the Titans are going to do, but having Pollard and Spears, if they just decide to run it back with these 2 backs, those are very reasonable prices to get an entire backfield. Again, it's been not great these last 2 years. But I just think it can obviously be a lot better. And, I don't mind that price. 158 for Spears, 86 for Pollard. Combined, could get a solid backfield. But back to the Raiders and not loving starting a rookie quarterback. Well, again, it seems like an honest statement, so that's good. But I just don't see it. Maybe they try and do what the Patriots did, and we have a Jacoby Brissett for the first couple weeks. But I think and honestly, and that was an early quarterback. That's why I used the Drake May situation. But we saw it last year with, the Giants and Jackson Dart, who was taken way later in the first round, where they went with Russ and they had Jameis on the team. But Dart just played his way into it. And that was also a situation I do think Dable was trying to save his job. So maybe he, jumped the gun on Dart a little earlier than he would have if he was in a more stable situation like Kubiak's going to be in. But I think it's going to be Kubiak's call mainly. And I do think they're going to move on from Geno. So, yeah, they probably bring in some veteran backup. I just don't know if it's going to be anyone who would start a whole year or anything like that. So it's probably going to be somebody who at worst case for Mendoza is starting the first month of the season. It's been a while since we've seen a first overall pick sit. So I'm going to guess that won't be the case. So I'm coming up, then I will get back into chat. I'm going to take Trey Harris here. A couple guys I like. I did move Joe Mixon down considerably with news that it sounds like he's going to need another surgery or just doesn't sound good. And it does sound like they're going to move on. Considered Kaytron Allen. Wasn't scared with Lance Zierlein's ranking of Kaytron Allen. Speaking of, Lance Zierlein is not a Jonah Coleman fan, if anyone looked at his combine reports. And that's fine. Like we're not always going to agree on every sort of prospect. Let me take Dalton Schultz here. But I was surprised. He had Jonah Coleman real low. I've been burned 2 years in a row on Kyler. I have too. The difference is, so last year, and I know it was a small sample size, but he finished, last year was his worst fantasy year. He finished his quarterback 20, right in between Baker above him and Jordan Love behind him. And we're taking both those guys well ahead of him now. I understand that they stayed relatively healthy. Love missed a little bit of time. But Kyler also could have come back. Like, the Cardinals kept him out. Like, Kyler could have played like the last 6-7 weeks. So he could have played like 11 games, 12 games. That was a Cardinals decision. It wasn't like Jacoby Brissett was winning games. He might be winning Trey McBride fantasy points, but the Cardinals were not winning games with Jacoby Brissett. So, that was just clearly the last staff didn't like him. The other point is the last couple of years we're taking Kyler in, like 2 years ago, like what was it, 6th round, 7th round, and last year was like the 8th, 9th round. This year, even where he got pulled up to where I'm talking about taking him, is like 10th, 11th, 12th round. So we're getting more of a discount, and quarterback prices in general have all moved up. So keep that in mind as well. Part of me is willing to gamble on a rookie with weapons and coaching while still having some Kyler. Yeah, it's not like I don't want Mendoza. It's just I think Kyler should go ahead of Mendoza. And same with Malik Willis. Like, I just think those having the rushing upside helps the spike week upside. We saw Malik Willis game end of the year against the Ravens. Like, it was him versus Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry won. Quite a few fantasy leagues with that. But Malik Willis played a really good game and used his legs. He's looked good throwing the ball. I have some concerns. I mean, I would only do it whether now or even after he signs somewhere or even post-draft. Like, both these guys are definitely, considering only really in 3 quarterback builds. But I just think it's worth taking the upside shots on them because we rarely get upside shots this low. I need a third tight end. Let me go Mason Taylor. Raiders GM spy text just focus on making the best draft moves and free agent signings and lose starters to coaches. GMs act like they don't have enough on their plates already. Yeah, no, I tend to agree. Let's round out this running back room. I'll do another handcuff. I mean, this is a more pure handcuff. Like, I don't think Ray Davis has fantasy value if James Cook is really active. But if James Cook misses any time, Ray Davis would be the number one waiver wire pickup. He would be, the number one person you're jamming into your DFS lineup. And yes, because of price, but even if he was priced up to a moderate level, you would jam him in because the upside is there. It's an elite offense. So I essentially am looking at this as I have the Bills running back room, the Tennessee running back room, though that's a little bit more risky right now, pre-free agency, and then Genty and James Conner. So hopefully we don't get a situation where James Conner gets cut and signs with the Raiders. Then I'll be very thin in that department. But other than that, I like how this running back room turned out. And I think there's differences. Like, Spears probably has some standalone value with Pollard. But like we saw 2 years ago, when Pollard missed a couple weeks, Spears had a couple 20-point games. It was like weeks 15 and 16 of the playoffs that year, I think it was. So he definitely has some more contingent upside as well, but I think there's a little standalone value. So I got 2 more picks. I'm at 3.663, probably just looking at 2 more receivers at this point. I like Pollard to run it back. Tennessee either recommitted to him or he finally got healthy. No, I mean, he played really well down the stretch. And this is also part of it is Tennessee's offense was still bad the last, 6 weeks of the season. But they were improving. And, obviously we're improving with an interim coach and all sorts of issues going on. But Cam Ward was playing better. The young receivers and weapons were playing better. And we saw it reflected in Pollard's production. Meg shouting out, yes, she has an article up, it'll be posted tomorrow about handcuffing running back rooms. The Raiders, they're probably the team calling about Dalton. I mean, that would be I like having Dalton in the building for a young quarterback. It's just I don't think he can start games anymore. GAB saying if you're draft number 1 overall, you're starting day 1. Yeah, it's pretty, years and years ago, Carson Palmer, the Bengals drafted him 1 overall and sat him all year. Even, the Giants sat Eli for like 9 games. but they also had this guy called Kurt Warner starting. Who am saying? Brugler seems low on Coleman. Yeah, I know he's not in his top 100. I haven't seen where he has him. I still think he probably is considered no worse than RB4. Peppertoni, Dayton Sub-Pups, you're doing well. All these handcuff Steves. Now I know why you're busy tomorrow. All right, we don't need tight end. We need receiver. I'm going to take a shot on my guy, Keenan Allen. I moved Jacoby Lane pretty far down, so I won't be taking him. So with this receiver room, Higgins, Zay Flowers, Sutton, Michael Wilson, I could use some youth. Rookie shot. I'll take Bernard. Actually, no. I'll take Jack Besh. So a couple of second-year guys. Let me get back in chat. Mendoza is quite overvalued at this current ADP. Cases can be made for Stroud, Bryce, Kyler Ward, and probably Willis to be taken ahead of him. Yeah, no, that's kind of where I'm at. I do obviously like everything but the offensive line, which I do hope gets fixed. I think he steps in with a top-notch young offensive-minded coach. The best tight end in the league in Brock Bowers, a great young running back behind him who also can be dynamic in the passing game as we saw last year. Receiver weapons are thin, but Trey Tucker and Jack Besh I think are a fine start. You need to add a little bit more, but it's O-line is the first priority. Index of suspicion, 2026, the year of the high price handcuffs. Yeah, Meg and I, we had a discussion about this things through last night, and I do think so. There's a difference between certain situations, and Pollard and Spears are kind of in the middle, but you have these ones like some of the ones that go early. They're more just split. They're more split backfields. Now I think the price is kind of wrong on where it's at, but particularly the Patriots when Stevenson, probably the lead back and the touchdown guy, goes later. Than Hendo, but I think we're seeing split backfields for good offenses. The Rams, Kyron and Corum, the Bears, Swift and Monangai. Right now, and this is what I've been saying, is I do think guys like Corum and Monangai could slide a little bit once we get some more landing spots. Because if Rico signs somewhere as a starter, he should definitely be going ahead of those guys. Same with Algier, same with a couple other guys. And honestly, same with some rookies if they get positive landing spots. But I do think even, come BBM, Corum might go 115 and you're taking Kyron at, 35. I can make a case for both just because there's standalone value. There's games where they can both score. And then if anything happens, whether it's Kyron misses 1 game or 10 games, Corum then just becomes the nuts. Kind of same with Swift and Monangai. Again, Patriots are a little different, though we saw it. I mean, Henderson's best games were when Stevenson was out. Those, I wouldn't call those handcuffs because there's enough standalone value for those backs. They get extra value for being just in great handcuff situations. But it's what the lines were for Ben Johnson. I mean, David Montgomery could be a top 15 back. So you have those outcomes. It's harder, and you have to pay for it. But yeah. Who's asking, what does this team and James Pierce have in common? No. Yeah, no. I mean, back in a long time ago, Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. Rivers sat for 2 years. Steelers were going to sit Ben Roethlisberger, but Tommy Maddox got hurt game 2 of the year, and or maybe even was game 1, and Ben Roethlisberger came in and played. So, when Peyton Manning started at that time 16 games as a rookie, that was definitely the exception. Most early first-round quarterbacks did not, even going back, like Donovan McNabb sat half the year. Going real far back, like I do think Kerry Collins sat a little bit, if I remember correctly. And I can't remember Drew Bledsoe. I will review the teams in a second. Let me finish up chat here. Jeff Cooley, is there a sibling scrum tomorrow night? Yes, we will be doing the sibling showdown, probably 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, my team, 3683, Joe Burrow, Bo Nix, Malik Willis. So I got 3 quarterbacks I feel good about. James Cook, Ashton Genty, Tony Pollard, James Conner, Tajay Spears, Ray Davis. Talked a lot about these different styles of handcuff running backs. So I did it for two of the backfields. And right now there's so many backfields, there's a little uncertainty in Tennessee, but there's so many other backfields that are just totally uncertain. Wide receiver, T. Higgins, my guy, Zay Flowers. Not really, but I do want some of him. Cortland Sutton, Michael Wilson, Romeo Doubs, Trey Harris, Keenan Allen, and Jack Bash. Obviously need Keenan Allen to be playing this year, but I do think this wide receiver room, a few of my least and favorite guys in Flowers and Michael Wilson, but we've seen paths for them to be very successful. So it's a little thinner at wide receiver than I probably like. Tight end, I paid up a little bit more for Dalton Kincaid than I typically do. And then I just waited for Schultz and Mason Taylor. So still should have 3 starting tight ends, and overall pretty good. Got B. Grandy, 3683, Goff, Mendoza, Michael Penix, A-Chain, ETN, so kind of like double elite. Monangai, one of these backs that we're talking about that has standalone value. Monty is, same sort of situation, though. Is he back in Detroit? That's the question. He got Emma Johnson. I was hoping they could fall back to me. He did not. And then tacked on Ollie Gordon late. So he also did the same thing, taking like a handcuff running back there. Receivers, London, Jameson Williams, Brian Thomas, Jordan Tyson, Jalen McMillan, Trey Tucker, Isaac Tesla, and Zachariah Branch. Mix of a couple young rookies and younger guys, and then of course a core of London, JMO, and BTJ. Kyle Pitts, TJ Hawkinson, Kate Otten. The 3 tight ends should be starting. Last 2 we don't know where they're at, but we now know where Kyle Pitts is. King QC 3692, Mahomes, Mayfield, Murray. So again, three quarterbacks. Waited a bit, but took them kind of 3 in a row, or in a similar range. Hampton, Kyron, Javante, 3 running backs early, then waited, tacked on Tucker, Katron Allen, Jared Smith. I like that, how that room turned out. Justin Jefferson, Kai Lemon, Mike Evans, Wandale. So still 4, in that top 100 picks. Had a little bit of a gap here, but that's where he started targeting quarterback. Added on Debo, got Surratt, Keon Coleman, and Tez Johnson. Oh, and Jalen Royal. So, that's right. You went 9 receivers. Tight ends, Tucker Kraft, and then Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, if he plays, this is a fantastic tight end room and tremendous value there. All right, let's get back in chat. Before I get over to the next draft, just want to check. There's so much news flying out there. So let me check Twitter real quick and get a drink. Don't see anything major coming through. So let's get into the next draft. If you see something, out there, some rumor or anything you want to talk about, throw it in chat. Let's talk about it. All right, let me get into the next draft. I will be entering in 10 seconds, and in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. Still waiting on 2 people to fill this up. And Jeff, appreciate you jumping in here. Appreciate everyone jumping in here. Don't forget to like this episode. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subs. And as always, we have a free Discord. You can see in the link description below. You can support us becoming a YouTube member or our Substack, which, as Meg posted earlier, has a 1-week free trial, but it's just a one-time payment. Meg and I will be on tomorrow night, but tomorrow morning I will be on probably like 11 a.m. So just want to put that out there again. And we are in here, and we got a nice fun room here. We got B Grandy at the 1, Low Smoke at the 2. We got Mr. Mufasa at 6, King QC at 7, Danimal at 8. I think that's J Lives. J Liver or J Liver 007. Sweet Leaf, who has seen a lot of things, so a lot of fun people. There it is. Yeah, that's what I thought. No, appreciate you for jumping in. Thanks for saying hi. So I'm at the 5th spot, which for me, I have 6 guys who I think there's kind of a top 6 this year. And I'm just going to take pretty much one of them every single time I'm in the top 6. I'm usually JT over JSN, but I will take JSN here. And, I have slight worries about a change in offense for Seattle. I mean, just in general, it's probably not sustainable, even if Kubiak stayed there. JSN's target share. But he can still be one of the best receivers. I actually think, Seattle could pass the ball more this year, especially with Charbonnet recovering from an injury. They could pass more of the ball in general. They could pass the ball more in the red zone. So I think we could see more from Darnold. And in their defense, they have a lot of defensive players. It's still going to be good, but they could take a slight hit. And I mean, there were so many games last year where they were just done. And a couple of those games, Darnold had great, against like my Washington Commanders. Darnold had an amazing first half. It literally didn't have to do anything in the second half. I think he already had 4 touchdowns at halftime. So, and those games weren't always Darnold dominating early. So, we saw in shootout type games against the Rams, against the Bucks, a couple other ones where Darnold really stepped up. I could just see them throwing the ball a little bit more this year. So while Jason probably won't have the same target share, his numbers might not take that big of a hit. So Take Nico out to a double wide receiver start. I like the running backs here, Henry and Chase Brown, quite a bit. But I want to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, so I don't think Quorum is accurately priced right now. And I do think, my guess is BBM Quorum ends up being more like 115, 120-ish. I think the problem is we're just running out of backs. We're running out of teams. Like I said, like Rico Dowdle, Algier, some of these other either draft picks or other free agents should end up going ahead of Quorum, and then other positions as well. Another thing, like quarterbacks, once we get some of these quarterback landing spots, Kyler, if Kyler gets a good landing spot, Malik Willis, maybe he's going like pick 110. I could see those guys move up a couple rounds. And same with some of those receivers. Like if Debo gets a nice landing spot, he's going like pick 130-ish right now, or maybe he's going to pick 105. Okay, coming up to 29. So I think that's a big part of the problem is right now we know what Quorum is, and there's at least a level of certainty with him. It just doesn't exist with so many other guys. And so that's forcing him up the board at higher. And I actually think it's the same with a number of these backs. Not that, backs prices are going to be up more this year than last. There's no doubt about that. But right now, there's so many guys that we're just inaccurate about. And Quorum is, and Monangai to an extent as well, but Tutin's another one. Like, why is Tutin going 76? Even if ETN leaves, unless they don't bring in anyone, there's no way Tutin should go 76. Quorum at least showed that he has a floor, 6 touchdowns. Basically, every time he got a touchdown, he was, in the 10-point range, if not higher. That's a usable week. That can be a flex week. Fill in for buys. But I do agree. It's there's not a ton of upside there outside of injury. Overweight on one of them, I would prefer to be Amon-Ra versus JSN. And to be fair, Amon-Ra, 3 straight years as wide receiver 3. Too tough to ignore. Coming up in a few picks. I'm at 0-1-2. So Loveland, I think, is interesting. I'm just slightly ahead of ADP on him, but I think he's an interesting pick here. Devonta Smith is, Cam Scatterboo, Javonte Williams. I'll take Scatterboo, get a second running back. Kind of balanced approach here. I'm saying I don't understand why Monangai is a full round more expensive. I think they're both overpriced. I do think Monangai is a better bet than Quorum because I think Quorum is still capped. Like we saw, Quorum was more likely to get subbed out at the goal line, where Monangai is more likely to get subbed in at the goal line. So I think that's a plus. Monangai actually showed more in the passing game, etc. But they're kind of similar calls. Fantasy Dog checking in, 28th like. Appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for liking this episode. Get a few more likes. I will do a third draft. Way too high. He doesn't even catch passes. Yeah, they do not like to throw the ball to Quorum. That's not ideal for him. Wondering if the Puka Stafford stackers are taking Quorum, keeping that ADP alive. I think that's part of it. Like I said, I think it's just the uncertainty. People just don't feel as good, and I'm the same way. I'm taking these guys blind, like Rico Dowdle and Algier and the rookies, and some of them are going to be bad landing spots, just flat out. Not my favorite range here. I think I will just pull up Swift. I'm just going to be way ahead of Swift right now. We're kind of having this discussion, Swift versus Monangai. My other thing with Monangai I give versus Quorum, since we have a second here, let's just look at the stats for a second. Monangai 169 attempts, 783, 5, 18, and 164. Quorum, on the other hand, very similar numbers. 145, 746, 6 touchdowns, 8 for 36. Like I said, more pass involvement from Monangai. Quorum had one more touchdown, but Monangai is more the touchdown hammer option. What I will point to is, of course, Monangai was a 7th round rookie. Quorum, second year, third round pick. Monangai got better as the year went on, was utilized more as the year went on. The Bears' offense as a whole got better as the year went on. So I do think that's a factor why more favorable on Monangai versus Quorum. I just think there is more upside there. And yeah, it's not the same, but we've seen it. We saw it for Ben Johnson multiple years. We saw it with, Swift and Jamal Williams, and we saw it with Gibbs and Monty. They could have 2 really good fantasy years together. And so now I think we're seeing it with Swift and Monangai. But I do agree, I want Monangai to be more like, I am 91. I'd like it more in the 90s. I have, Quorum 106. I would love it if it ends up being more in the 115, 120. Right now, I can't take too many guys ahead of them because I just don't know if they're going to land in a good enough spot. So I'm going to take Marv. I'm definitely hopeful that the new offense is going to feature the former 4th overall pick quite a bit more. And hopefully he stays healthy. Go Seattle Superstack, Darnold, Warner, Horton. I definitely could. I do like the Darnold price quite a bit. We talked about quarterbacks a lot last draft. Darnold is one that I can push for either side. You can make a case he should go 20 picks higher or kind of right where he's at. But I think he's a good floor with a little bit of a ceiling. Tootin's probably minus 250 odds to be Jags RB1 next year based on all the beat reports. He's probably... See, I don't know about that, Sus. I've heard a lot of beat reports, they want ETN back. I know the money's tight, and I also, Liam Cohen, I haven't heard any beat reports that say they just are going to hand the job to Tootin. Yeah, this is not a fun range, so we'll just take Jalen Hurts, get some little bit ADP value there. So I'd be shocked, and even if he is the quote unquote RB1, they're bringing in someone, they're pairing him with some other back. LaQuint Allen got more snaps than he did last year, so I just don't see them giving him anything close to the ETN role. Could be wrong, and sure, if they get through free agency and draft and they have not brought in anyone, then yeah, I'm definitely going to reconsider. But I'm not going to be paying a price for Tootin, who's like a 10, who really runs the risk of being a 5 to 10 snap guy. Yeah, Loveland in that range, it's just a couple round difference, but I far prefer Loveland than the McBride and Bowers prices. Appreciate you, Fantasy Dog. Yeah, people do hate Swift more than Kyron. I mean, to be fair, Kyron is definitely the better bat. Like, he just has a bigger touchdown upside, right? Like, I think that's unquestionable. And he's just been more consistent. It'll be interesting to see how the new Bears running back coach affects the running game. Yeah, I mean, they obviously lost Declan Doyle and a few other coaches. I'm going to assume it's going to be pretty much continuing what we saw and growing on it, because the first couple of weeks in the Ben Johnson offense, as one could expect, there were some growing pains. It was not as crisp and as efficient as it was, definitely in the second half of the year. So I would just definitely expect more. So I don't mind Kyle Pitts here. One of these receivers. I think I'll go receiver. I'll go Xavier Worthy. Yeah, my hope for the Bears is, I really do, and they're going to have to pay off all these higher ADPs. But I really think their offense could take it even up a notch. Yeah, just going back to the Jags, I really think it's a battle between Gladstone and Liam Cohen. Like, Gladstone was all aboard the Tootin train. Liam Cohen was not. So maybe Gladstone's convinced Cohen, but that's definitely not my read on the situation. Appreciate you, Fantasy Dog. I do think they are, that is a very open situation. It's just one, I'm not willing to pay that Tootin price when, we just don't know. Yeah, I'll take Rico. Could have done Mahomes with the Worthy stack. I already spent one pick on quarterback and some back stack options here, or later stack options here. So now I have a really strong core. I definitely could target Darnold. I'm betting on Seattle's offense to be good with Walker and JSN. Yeah, this is my thing. If they don't get ETN, I think, and we just saw it, like Javonte, ETN's probably going to sign for 11 to 12 million a year. Javonte signed for 8 million. So yeah, maybe they say we can't swing ETN, but we'll bring in, Tyler Algier, we'll bring in Rico Dowdle, who I just took. Even like a lesser option, like a Brian Robinson Jr. could threaten Tootin's 671 role, in my opinion. Right now I'm out on Tootin at this price, just because he didn't show me anything last year that he's ready for the full gig. In fact, I think the game that he had the most snaps, he got injured in. So it definitely didn't help matters. But it's just ETN just clearly outplayed him. So I think I would take him a lot more if he was going to pick 100s. But right now it's just not a price I want. I will say I will be quicker to adjust this year for the Jags because I love the situation. I love Liam Cohen's offense, and I hope we get a much clearer picture. I took way too much Bigsby. I just tried to even it out last year. I had like 9% Bigsby, 7% ETN, and like 4% Tootin, and that was just wrong. You just wanted ETN. Let us go. Maybe if Darnold comes back to me, I'm not going to pull him up. I'll take Shakir here. Get a 5th receiver I feel pretty good about. And then we'll consider quarterback. Yeah, I mean, Lawrence feels pretty good. It's just a range of quarterbacks. You have Dak there. You have Lawrence. We see the upside with Jackson Dart. Justin Herbert goes in that range. So it's just a crowded quarterback area. Lawrence is nice, though, because he's a little easier to stack. Brian Thomas Jr. goes ahead of him. His other receivers, Jacoby Myers and Parker Washington go in the same range, and then Strange is a little later. So he's much easier to stack than some of those guys. So Darnold goes. And I'm just gonna do it. Take Evan Johnson here. Could stop at 5 running backs. If I tack on a 6, it's going to be super late. So we'll see what gets back to me. But I was kind of hoping Darnold would come back to me. Also considering Casey Concepcion. Talked about him on Stream with Huhames last night. I think he's going to run really well. So I could see him moving up boards a bit. But I do think Evan Johnson is going to create his own buzz. So I don't know how much longer we'll be getting him in the 125. Coming up in a few picks. Jay Lives takes Katron Allen and Debo. Game QC takes Willis. I'm going to take Kyler. Just prefer him over Stroud Mendoza. I do have a stack with Stroud, so if it comes back, maybe I takes that, but I'm not gonna force it. Huhaim saying Emmett and Omar bags packed, now bracing for impact. Yeah, we'll be interesting to see. Omar Cooper Jr. is definitely another one I expect to rise up after the draft. There's some other ones I'm just not as inclined. Like, if Chris Brazell runs a 4.4, I mean, he's going to go boards. I'm just less bullish on him making an impact as a rookie. I do think he could end up with 2nd round draft capital, but it just feels more of a project. If he gets good draft capital, good landing spot, I'll end up with a chunk of him post draft. I'm not going to go extreme right now. Coming up, one more pick. Don't have a tight end yet. I think I'll take Stroud and be done. He's stacked. At least give me one of my 3 quarterbacks to be stacked. I guess if Kyler stays in Arizona, I'd have another stack. I probably will end this at 5 running backs and either 9 receivers or 4 tight ends, depending on what I need it for. That's kind of how I see it. I think I'm done at quarterback, done at running back. Let's just focus the rest of the way on tight end and receiver. Jeff saying, Steve, you should do a mock draft for fun. I probably will post one, not right now, but closer to the draft. Williams, I did a 2nd round skill, also in the mock at Brazil, to New England round 2. Yeah, no, I think they could look at somebody like that. Fantasy Dog asking, can the Vikings afford Murray? So the Vikings are over the cap. I talked about this a little earlier, but no problem re-talking about it. Vikings do, unlike say the Browns or the Dolphins, those are the 3 teams who need quarterbacks who are either tight against the cap or over the cap. The problem with the Browns and Dolphins is they truly have no money. Like they can't. There's very few players they can renegotiate. Not renegotiate. It's not the right word. Restructure the contract to push money into future years. Browns have almost nobody they can do that with. Dolphins kind of same. Dolphins have pretty much cut everyone already. They will cut Tua, but it actually costs them money. And then they don't have much they can trade. Either one can trade or anything like that. So it's going to be tough for them to find money. Will they do it? Sure. There's always, there's always ways to find a little bit of money, but to find money for a big signing or a big addition like Kyler Murray or Malik Willis, I think is a lot harder, right? And the Vikings, even though currently more over the cap, and the other thing with the Browns is like they have no offensive linemen under contract. Like literally their entire offensive line are under voided contracts. They could bring back 1 or 2, but they're going to have to pay them. The Dolphins also have a lot of holes. The Vikings have less holes, and they have a lot of players who they can just push money in future years. Justin Jefferson, Brian O'Neill, Christian Darrisaw, Jonathan Allen, a couple others. Easy, no problem. Others they can cut or trade, like TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. They can save more money than like with those 2 moves than the Browns can save with every guy they could cut. So will be tough. Will they need it to be the right number? Yes. Honestly, trading for Kyler, the Cardinals are going to pick up like some of the cap hit the Cardinals will be taking on. So he might even be more easy to afford than Malik Willis. The Malik Willis you could structure a little differently. But I think that if they really wanted to, they could do either one. Let's take a likely here. Get a 2nd tight end since we waited. So now I feel like could probably stop at 3 tight ends. Still think I'm probably stopping at 5 running backs. Like that room. So yeah, it'll be tougher for the Vikings, but they at least have paths and avenues to create a lot of money to fit Kyler in or to sign Malik Willis and to still do their other moves. Problem with the Dolphins is if they do that, they can't, like they would have to go bare bones, like literally cut basically everyone with a pulse. And then they have holes to fill. So it becomes very problematic for those other teams. So I'm coming up in the 16th round, saying at 3,552. see, where are we at in the like department? Give me a second. Look it up on my phone so it doesn't start playing randomly. All right, wait, coming up at one pick. All right. I don't love targeting the Jets, but I do want some shots on Adonai Mitchell. There is talent there. He needs to catch the ball better, but there is just some raw talent there. So let's see, it looks like we're at 34 likes. Yeah, I'll do another draft. But I appreciate everyone for jumping in, hitting the like button, supporting us. We appreciate it. So, some people, Jets have 2 first rounders. They also have a second rounder. So maybe they are looking receiver. I hear a lot of people connect receiver to them. I personally don't see it. I just feel like that team has so many more needs than wide receiver. You have Garrett Wilson as your 1, Adonai Mitchell and John Mechie can be your 2 and 3. Not to say that they shouldn't add anyone to that room, but that's a good, solid young core. What they need is a quarterback to get them the ball. Tesla versus Io Manor. I have way more Io Manor, so I would take a Tesla share here because he fell. I mentioned this, I talked about this a little the other day. Tesla, I think he's good in this range. The issue with him is most of the receivers ahead and behind him have far better paths, whether it's a rookie or whether it's a veteran, a young veteran. They just have better paths for like bigger upside. Where Tesla is kind of like, he's stuck into that wide receiver 3 role with some touchdown upside, which helps him. But, end of the year, Tesla is going to be like wide receiver 60. Like he's not going to be wide receiver 30. We're like an Io Manor, that might be a stretch, but like guys like this, could be wide receiver 40 at least. Like, like Trey Tucker, Trey Harris, those kind of guys who also go in this range. So while I'm probably sacrificing a little upside for Tesla, this is one of the latest you get them, and I want some, and it's a piece of the Lions offense. And yes, in the rare case where one of their major weapons misses significant time, he could end up as wide receiver 40. I don't want to do Mason Taylor having a Jet already. That doesn't seem very positive for me. So we'll go Pat Freiermuth here to attack on a 3rd tight end. B. Grandy saying this one's a throwaway for me. Snipe City on quarterbacks. I misclicked Ridley. Yeah, I get that. Sometimes it just doesn't pan out how you want. All right, so coming up into the 19th round. think I'm just going to tack on 2 receivers now. So focus on that. Definitely not a strong group. We'll take Kyle Williams, I think. Let's take a dart throw here. Hopefully he gets into a bigger role. I mean, what I do like about my team is the top 5 I feel strong about. So I'm just tacking on 4 super late guys to round it out. Fancy Dog, 6'4" Tesla. Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's got this touchdown upside. Like any week he scores a touchdown, he's live for 10 points. I mean, that can hit your lineup as a flex or wide receiver 3. So, us saying Tesla feels like a Parker Washington type lottery ticket where he might not matter unless there's injuries, but there are injuries with that schedule. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, I want some investment in good offenses, even if the guy is a little bit more blocked. It's not the same argument as, the running backs we were talking about, like Corman and Monangai earlier, but kind of in the same, like these guys they're capped, their ceilings are capped, but if the offense is good enough and if the right things happen, it could pan out. And yeah, I mean, the Parker Washington is, nobody at this time, I take that back. Cody off the schneid was on the Parker Washington train, at least pre-draft. I think he cooled that off a little bit after the Travis Hunter pick, but it's, you hit this guy in the right offense and yeah, they can pan out. So I'm not going to have like a massive share of Tesla because, like I said, his upside's more capped, but I don't want 0. This is the way I look at it. So tacking on one more receiver here. Slayton, probably the safe pick. There's a couple of rookies I could take shots on. Sure, Bateman doesn't feel great. I'm actually going to take Luke McCaffrey. Right now in Washington is Terry McLaurin, Luke McCaffrey, and Jalen Lane. Luke McCaffrey, I think, has more inside-outside ability than Jalen Lane, so he could still be a top 3 receiver, whether they, bring back Debo or whether they, sign a top outside free agent receiver. So, I've said it before. I want to be, have a couple shares of both McCaffrey and Lane. Ideally more in Jaden Daniels teams, but as a 9th receiver, it's okay. And it's like, it's not even that option for like Philly, right? Even if they trade AJ Brown, Dotson's contract is void. I think if they trade AJ Brown, they're looking for another receiver. All right. Let me read off the teams in the draft, and then we will do one more. I went 3-5-9-3, Hurts, Murray, Stroud, so 3 starting quarterbacks, and got a little value on Stroud, which is nice, especially since he's the one stack guy. I also got value on Hurts. Kenneth Walker, Cam Scatterboo, DeAndre Swift, Rico Dowdle, Emmett Johnson. 3 running backs with very clear, lead roles. Going in, I mean, Walker, it is still presuming Seattle, but even if he were to go somewhere else, he's going to have the lead role. They're going to pay him a ton of money. It's not like they're going to pay him a ton of money to sit. And then Rico, I think, is one of the better second tier free agents who could get a good landing spot. Emma Johnson, I think, is a second round pick. So I have an outside, I wouldn't say outside, a real chance of 5 starting running backs from this team. Then a wide receiver, my core of JSN, Nico, then Wade a couple rounds, Marv, Xavier Worthy, Khalil Shakir. I like that top 5. I think Worthy's a little undervalued. I think Shakir is undervalued. Even if they bring in they could bring in any receiver, and I still think Shakir can pay off 116. Adonai Mitchell, got him at value, and I think he's the number 2 and a spike week guy. Tesla, just talked about a lot. Kyle Williams, we'll see what the Patriots do at wide receiver, but would not shock me if their second year, third round pick could take a bigger jump. And then Luke McCaffrey, again, third year, third round pick, might need to take the jump. Hunter Henry, Isaiah Likely, and Pat Frymuth. Not sure where Likely will be, but like what the offense we have in Henry, I think Pat Frymuth's back in Pittsburgh, and I think Pittsburgh's offense is going to be much better this year. I mean, Mike McCarthy is a good offensive mind. It's a pretty good track record there. So hopefully some positives there. We have Big Randy here, 4592, Mendoza, Jacoby Brissett, Ty Simpson, Tua Tagovailoa. As he said, he was not getting the quarterbacks that he wanted. They had to throw some volume at it. Bijan, Henry, double anchor, Monangai, Woody Marks, Fred Smith. Then a receiver room, T-Mac, Mbuka, Mekhi Lemon, Michael Wilson, DJ Moore. So 5 in the top 100. Tagged on Matthew Golden. He mentioned Ridley was not his click. Trey Tucker, Eric McAllister. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I actually really like that. I was considering Eric McAllister. He's one of my favorite rookies. I think he might end up with third round capital. That's what I'm hoping for him. I haven't really clicked him much, but I do like his upside. Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert. That's a good tight end room and value on both of them. Losimo, 2-5-10-3. So he goes Lamar, Drake May, so 2 quarterbacks early. Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Jadarian Price, Jonah Coleman, Aaron Jones. 2 anchor backs, Jadarian, 2 rookies with the potential for good roles, and then Aaron Jones, either back in Minnesota or on a new team, could be the same. Then 10 receivers. He starts with Carnell Tate, so starts with a rookie. Does follow it up with some nice veterans here in Ricky P, Steph Diggs, and Juwan Jennings. That could be pretty solid. Josh Downs. Then he goes back to the rookie room of Omar Cooper Jr., Zach Branch, Jacoby Lane, and Jeremy Bernard, and then ties it all together with Darius Slayton. Tight end room of Brock Bowers, Mark Andrews, Dalton Schultz. A lot of upside in that tight end room, and might even need that tight end room to hit your flex once every now and then. But that is fine, because you paid a price for Bowers in great value on Andrews and Schultz. Mr. Mufasa, he also goes to 2-5-10-3. Josh Allen Baker, JT, Saquon, Jalen Warren, Tyler Algier, J.K. Dobbins. So that ends up with being a pretty solid running back room, double anchor, and then other guys who all should have pretty good usable roles, if not starting roles. Devonta Smith, Luther Burden, Jacoby Myers, Rashid Shaheed, then Jalen McMillan, Kayshon Boutte, Torrey Horton, Malachi Fields, Malik Washington, Tez Johnson. So, I think, double stacked it with Baker. I do think you need Mike Evans to leave for these receivers to, both kind of hit. But if so, then, you got some young Tampa receivers. Just threw a lot of depth at guys who could be in second or third options on their team to go along with, kind of like Smith and Burden and to an extent Myers as the core. Then tight end room of Kincaid, AJ Barner, Colby Parkinson. That's a solid room. So, receiver, it's, you have 10 shots to essentially get at least 3 guys. Because honestly, this running back room, I think it's strong enough to hit your flex a lot of weeks. Probably not every week, but a lot of weeks. So most weeks you only need 3 of the 10 receivers to hit, and that can be doable. King at QC and 3773. Jaden, Dart, Malik Willis, very strong, high upside quarterback room for sure. A lot of rushing upside. Tony Pollard, Corey Krosky Merritt, team stack there. Kenneth Gainwell, Alvin Kamara, Sean Tucker, Dylan Sampson, Tank Bigsby. So, need some volume at the running back room. You're going to need some luck with, where Gainwell ends up, what Kamara's situation is, what JCM's situation is. But if the luck breaks your way, this room could end up pretty strong. So it's like taking advantage of maybe some uncertain situations. They break your way. This is a very, very viable room. Wide receivers, super strong with a Lamb, Neighbors, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin start. Just loving the NFC East there. Tacking on Jordan Tyson, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Jalen Knoll to round it out. One late round tight end, but a lot of value here. Juwan Johnson, Kate Otten, and Eli Stowers. Danimal 4-8-6-2, so that's a more unique build. So Jared Goff, and then he went with 3 veterans likely to be in the game of musical chairs. Hopefully none of them are retiring for him. But Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith. I actually like taking that approach. They'd pick 200, 209, and 233. Even if somehow one of them were to retire or one of them to be clear backup, you probably are getting 3 starting quarterbacks. So this team might get 4. And just cobbles together a good enough team. 8 running backs. Kyron is your anchor. Tyron Tracy, James Conner, Rashard White, Taj Spears, Zach Charbonnet, Braylon Allen, Najee Harris. So, here you're taking advantage of free agents or, guys coming off an injury. Hopefully a couple of them end up hitting pretty well. Kyron, he's going to have to be your anchor. He's definitely going to have to pay off that ADP. But if he does, you can maybe cobble together a pretty solid running back room, depending on what, this musical shares of free agents or guys coming off injuries, like where they end up. 6 receivers, 6 in the top 100. Amon-Ra, London, Adams, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, and Parker Washington. Very, very strong. Even though you have 6, likely a lot of times your flex can come from this room. So that's pretty good. And then 2 tight ends, Laporta, Kittle. My one concern there is obviously both coming off major injuries, but the upside is massive. Typically, I only take Kittle in 3 tight end builds because I do worry about him missing some significant time. But I get it. It could really pay off if things go well for you. Then we have Jay Lives in here, 3683, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy, Michael Penix. Running back room of James Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Chuba Hubbard, and then a couple of rookies here, Katron Allen, Damon Claiborne, and Nicholas Singleton. So, I think Cook, Stevenson are very strong. Hubbard could end up being the starter again in Carolina. That's a little bit more up in the air. Then 3 rookie shots here late. I think that's a fine room. Higgins, Flowers, Rome Odunze, Debo. Tyreek Hill, though, did get a little bit of a fall. Elijah Surratt, Marvin Mims, Darnell Mooney. Strong wide receiver room at top. I have some concerns about Hill being my 5th receiver, with his prognosis being so unknown in an 8 receiver build. Like if it was 9 receivers, it's a little bit more, different. Trey McBride, Tucker Kraft, and Evan Ingram. And with McBride and Kraft, I probably would have just thrown a 9th receiver at the position. But it could pan out if you get lucky on the Tyreek Hill health. And I do like Surratt and Mims. Mooney probably gets cut. We'll see where he ends up. All right, let's get into another draft. Let me just hit up chat. I read a bit ago they don't plan on running heavy personnel in Detroit. Might mean they want more Tesla. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me too much. Also, if they keep Monty, I wouldn't be surprised if they do 2 RB sets more. It's just that's where your talent is. Brock Wright's a okay number 2 tight end, and the offensive line eligible stuff. Dan Skipper's retired, I believe. They need to focus on their offensive line, not running up plays for these guys. So, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, having the emergence of Tesla helps in that department. Fancy Dog saying more Tesla. Where's that? Danimal Sharp Room. Yeah, it was a Sharp Room for sure. Flyfish. I think the Parker Washington bet / run out. So lucky. BTJ coming off rookie volume. Hunter trade up. 1-2 Diami 10 million. Then trade for Jacoby and strange injury. Doesn't signal bull stance for 6th round Parker Washington to meet. Yeah, I have a tough time taking Parker Washington where he's at. Even if the reports on Travis Hunter are true, which I think I still take with a pretty big grain of salt, just since there's so many things can change between now until then. Parker Washington at best is a 3rd wide receiver. At least it should be. Like Brian Thomas Jr., he's just more naturally talented, and can do things Washington can't do. Jacoby Myers is just a better veteran version of Parker Washington. And Travis Hunter is arguably the most talented wide receiver on the team. So, and then yes, Strange ideally playing all year. So I do have a tough time for Parker Washington's price. That's one of the receiver rooms I feel are inefficiently priced, and I kind of, have a tough time, drafting it as is. So yeah, I have the least of Washington of that group. All right, let's jump into another big board. This will be my last one of the day, and I will count it down. Aaron in 10 seconds. Aaron in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enter. So sorry for anyone who jumped the gun. Looks like we have a pretty fresh room here. Waiting on 9. And let's get to it. All right, still waiting on 7. I think Who Hames is live today at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then I think PPR Tyler is maybe 6 or 7 p.m. So definitely plenty of good shows later today. Let me know in chat, Who Hames, if you're still there, if you are going live later. Still waiting on a couple. I plan on doing streams. Like I said, I'll be on tomorrow morning and then tomorrow night with Meg. Then I'll do a show Friday. And I plan on doing streams both Saturday and Sunday with the Combine. Not sure the exact time yet. I need to figure it out. Tomorrow morning, expect that to be like an 11 a.m. stream. So speaking of some more Combine reports and rumors, the Colts basically said they're working to extend both Pierce and Daniel Jones. I think that was kind of as expected. They said they could potentially use the franchise tag, but don't want to. I think that makes sense as well. The thing for them is they're tied up against the cap, so they would like to extend these guys and really backload those deals. I personally still question whether Pittman gets, I don't think cut, maybe traded. But I just kind of think they want to, keep the band back together and take another run at it next year. Would be my guess. I know Pittman's expensive. When you're paying Pierce also and JT and quarterback, but I just see them finding a way to make it work. Maybe they extend Pittman, maybe not, but he's still a valuable piece of that offense. So I'd be a little shocked if they feel the need to move on. Let me refresh here. So still waiting on one more. Okay, looks like we're filled. Okay, Losimo's got the 101. I'm in the 103. We have, I see Mufasa at 12, and then, what a great name! What a great name, Legend of Zelda at the 8. Definitely my 80s childhood remembers that fondly. So if anyone else is in here, definitely say hi. But good luck to those who are. Yeah, just going back to Flyfish's comment about the Jags, they're one that, I don't think we're truly ever going to, or not truly ever, but Hunter stuff, there's just so many ways that I can change a PTJ trade. Parker Washington could also get traded. And, them adding more corners, them having an injury somewhere, but I don't know when that will get more efficient. Like I talked before, I think some of those running backs, like the Quorum, non-guy prices, I think just naturally those will get more efficient. I don't know the Jags situation. We just haven't seen a big change because even the Cardinals, like we saw Marv move up a little bit, Wilson move down, a few other situations like that. Right now, it seems like nobody knows what to do with the Jags. So I wonder when that we'll see a shift there, because right now it feels like the prices are wrong, and that makes it tough to invest because probably multiple of them are wrong. The one guy who falls is Brenton Strange, who's I think the best bet. He's going in a lot of times the 130s now, sometimes 140s. And from a per game standpoint last year, he was pretty good. Mr. Mufasa St. Challen, my inner Ganondorf. Good old Zelda. A little surprised. I've been, trying to check Twitter and in between. I haven't seen too many big tidbits today. Thought we'd get a little bit more. I saw Vrabel was asked about AJ Brown, and it's like, yeah, what's he going to say? And of course, there is that long-time connection from Tennessee days. I saw others have broken this down. It's like where the Eagles are right now against their cap, they would need AJ Brown to massively renegotiate his deal to even facilitate a trade right now. Because if they trade him before June 1st, it is a nightmare for their cap situation. So could that happen? Yes. Could they wait to trade him after June 1st? Yeah, but that means you're not getting return on value until next year when you get draft picks. That seems unlikely for a team contending, unless they're getting a receiver back or something like that. So I don't know. That's going to be one to watch. I'm kind of more, for a while there, I was thinking Goddard would be back, Adrian Brown traded, but now I'm leaning more towards Goddard's probably gone, AJ Brown stays. do another Nico share. Chase Nico feels good. And Olosimo taking Pickens. Let's see what else he takes. I'll do a 3 wide receiver start. Last week I did a 5 wide receiver start and actually turned out really well. But I'll start 3 wide here. I just taken Ken Walker in the last draft. I have a good share of him, but I don't want to, just be massively over the field. With a 3 wide receiver startup, might be more in line for like a 7 wide receiver team, but definitely will depend on what kind of my next 2 receivers are. Hit the turn to the 4th round. Let's see if I can land this. I don't like doing 0 RB at this time frame. So hopefully I get some running backs I like. And Loveland goes 37 to Mr. Mfaso with McConkey. Like that start. A-Chain, Jefferson, McConkey, Loveland. A lot of upside potential there. Scadaboo goes, Javonte goes. Okay, running back's not going to be looking good. Okay, this might be a 4 wide receiver start. I will take Devonta. And yikes. This is not definitely my favorite start to the draft. 4 wide receivers, and Chase has just obviously massive alpha ability. But just being tied to some secondary quarterbacks with Nico and Olave, and then Devonta Smith, like you just talked about, I feel better if AJ Brown were leaving. So there's a path for that, but I'm less confident that happens. Wherever he goes, I have a tough time taking him as is, but I'm just going to pull up Swift. I feel like I need a running back. The other receivers in this range aren't, to me, elite options. Yeah, I'm lower on Burden and Waddle as is. Watson would have been fine, but that's about it. Considered Lamar. Just don't love the. Don't want to be totally boxed out running back. All right, go back to the board here. Losimo is saying at 0230. I'm at 0140. And Mr. Mufasa is on the clock. Yeah, it's Dunze, Caleb Williams. That's a fun stack, Chicago stack there. At 70, definitely could, would consider Burrow if he gets it back to me. No one else is jumping off the page. I mean, the other quarterbacks are fine here, but Burrow and Chase is hard to land. Ramondre Stevenson would have been the one running back. So we'll go Burrow. Definitely kind of have an anchor build with Swift because running back is thin. Losimo grabs Tyler Warren in May. I was hoping to get Hurts back for the secondary stack. So we'll just take Ricky P here. I'm very likely looking to be a seven wide receiver team with 5 this early. So probably looking at 3-7-7-3 would be my guess for this build, but still some time to figure it out. Let's go back to the board. So this is something we're seeing much more, Dak being pulled up into the late 70s. Seems like that's where he'll settle. The quarterbacks in this draft have gone a little higher. Dart at 65. You know, that is... Oh, okay, that was the neighbors team. So as we see, always the 6th, 7th round, you know, what, 9 quarterbacks have gone off the board. This 8th round is definitely looking to be more the sweet spot for tight ends. Sometimes Fannin even lasts there, but you know, Laporta, Pitts, Kraft usually go somewhere in this range. Sometimes Gadsden at the end of the round as well. I am not getting the running backs that I want. I was hoping Tony Pollard would come back to me. That didn't happen. Then he started catching up here. We'll take Jadarian Price. You know, Purdy's obviously a stack, but I think I need to secure running back a little bit more. And still could be doing that with the next pick, as much as I like Purdy. So from what we talked about earlier, like I just like these backs better than Corum, but also in this kind of build, like I think Corum can more than pay off if you know, like Losimo has, who's his top couple of backs, Bijan and Bucky. Sure, Corum can be your number 3. But Corum's my number 3. I'm in trouble because I don't need a 10-point RB3. I need a guy who can hit 20 points. And that could be Algier or Rico, depending on where they land. So I'll take whoever's left. Let's take Algier. So we're now sitting at 1350. Got up a little bit of running back, still need some help. Still will probably be going 7. But I can slow down a little bit at receiver. Yeah, I ideally take one more that I feel semi-good about, and then maybe one super late. Then I'll need to catch up at tight end and quarterback as well. For me, all things being equal, I am more Dowdle than Algier, but A, didn't have a choice, and B, I mean, I could see so much of it will depend on landing spot, but curious if the chat has a preference on Dowdle or Algier. Monty Coleman goes. Some other running backs that would make sense for me. So coming up in 2 picks, like some of the receivers here, could take the first tight end. I am going to just pull up my guy, Emmett Johnson, to ensure I feel secure about my 4th running back. I might pivot back to receiver if the right guy is there, 123. Quarterback. If Shuck had been there, that would have been interesting, but I think I'll wait. I think my running back room still needs more help. I'll pull up Dobbins. I'm lower on him in general, but I think this is the type of team he makes the most sense on. I'm just hoping for a good landing spot. And he just, to me, he's got more upside than some of these other backs in this range. So I view it as shooting for upside. And let me go back to the board. So coming up to the 11-12 turn, I'm saying at 155, Losimo is at 1442, and Mr. Mufasa is making his picks now. It's Romeo Doubs and Bryce Young. So he's now seen at 2361. So up in a couple picks. I've caught up some at running backs. I feel good there. Tight end, quarterback, receiver. Definitely a tier break at receiver for Shaheed for me. So that's what I'll target if I can get him. I do. And now feel very confident about only going 7 receivers. All right. Kyler goes. Do need quarterback. So that's not fun. Okay, I will take Cam Ward, kind of like the last quarterback worth taking in this area, in my opinion. So sitting at 2.560. Tight end will be a struggle for this team, but overall, I like how this turned out. Very strong receiver room, running backs feel caught up with, and a second quarterback that I feel good about. I know a lot of things need to happen, and at some point I think they're bringing in a receiver, but I'm going to be more bullish on the Titans this year. Second year, Cam Ward, Brian Dable is, I think, an upgrade. I think they have enough offensive line talent. They just need to get the most out of them. And, you know, the prices are good for guys like Pollard, Spears, the receivers, DK, and Iron Manor, and then Gunnar Helm. So I love the prices that we're getting. Even if they do add a top-end receiver or even an above-average receiver, I think those prices are still fine. So to me, the Titans are one of those teams who are being undervalued in the market right now. Like, look at the Titans compared to the Jets. The Jets, we have no idea who their quarterback is. They're bringing back Frank Wright as their offensive coordinator. It's not necessarily a knock on him so much, but it's just like that situation's a mess. And yet we're taking Garrett Wilson at 30-something. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, 30-something. It's a long time until you get to any other Jet. But we're just paying such a premium price. I know they're really good players, but attached to such a terrible offense. I'm going to go for upside here with Kelsey. We'll obviously have 3 tight ends. Helm or Gesicki could be in the mix late. Didn't think I'd get both Henry and Kelsey, so I went with the upside side on Kelsey. So I think I'm just going to end my wide receiver room with DK here as my 7th receiver. And now just looking at these 3 positions.
So Losum is at 2562. I'm at 2571. And Mr. Mufasa is on the board now. And after his picks at 2572. Like I said earlier, Joe Mixon is one of the guys who I significantly moved down. It doesn't sound good. Probably will keep moving him down. I took a few shares of him. I'll be good on that until I hear otherwise. Let's take Nicholas Singleton to get some upside play here. And probably taking a tight end here. We'll get Gunnar Helm, part of the stack. Tight end's a little thinner, especially with the Kelsey risk, but I'll take a third. Hopefully one we have a little confidence in. Running back, I still think I'm going to add a seventh. It's caught up quite a bit that I could make the case for 4 tight ends. Definitely don't think I need an 8th receiver with this room. Do want a 3rd quarterback, but that's probably going to be tacked on. Coming up to the last couple picks of this draft, just want to thank everyone for jumping in, liking this episode, commenting. Appreciate all your support. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. And then I'll be back tomorrow night with Meg on Sibling Showdown. But also leave a comment after the show. That also helps the YouTube algorithm as well as the likes. So we appreciate all of it. And yeah, I'm enjoying doing these drafts. Getting a few more drafts in before the combine. I'm gonna, have about 45% of my drafts done through this weekend. So I feel pretty good with that number. And I should have said it earlier. If you're watching on YouTube, come over, drop a like, drop a subscription. We appreciate the support. Okay, coming up here, could go quarterback, RB, or tight end. RB is dried up a lot more than I'd like. So we were just going to go quarterback here. Actually, no. Let's get an RB because take Brashard Smith. Yeah. I'm going to go tight end. I want a little bit more security here. And I can tack on a quarterback late. This tight end position's really thinned out. So I have one pick to go. It should be a quarterback unless nothing is there. In which case, I'm not going to be a big fan of this team. Who Hames is going live at 5, I believe. I will send everyone over there after this. So coming up on my last pick, ideally I'm going quarterback, but there's a few teams in here who could be grabbing one ahead of me. All right, step 2 goes. I will take, hopefully get one of these 2, and then I will wrap it up. All right, let's wrap it up with Aaron Rodgers as my final pick. I end up going 3-7-7-3, Joe Burrow, Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Swift, Jadarian Price, Tyler Algier, Emma Johnson, J.K. Dobbins, Nicholas Singleton, and Brashard Smith. Gonna need some luck on rookie free agent landing spots for sure. Not a lot of certainty on this running back room, but plenty of potential to end up with like 3, 4, 5 pretty usable guys. Receivers: Chase, Nico, Chris Olave, Devonta Smith, Ricky P. So 5 receivers early, including my first 4 picks. Then just tacked on Rashid Shaheed and DK late, who I think are strong picks at those positions as well. Went more late round tight end. Really need Travis Kelce to come back. If not, this team's in some trouble. But if Kelce's back, then it's Gunnar Helm, Mike Gesicki. Rounding that out, Losamo goes 3-5-9-3. Drake May, Daniel Jones, J.J. McCarthy, Bijan Robinson, Bucky Irving, Blake Corum, Woody Marks, Kamani Vidal. So only 5 running backs, but double anchor, Bijan, Bucky, Corum you feel safe with. Woody Marks and Vidal feel pretty safe in their roles. Like, I'm not sure about the true upside there, but safe enough. Pickens and Buka, Carnell Tate, Jaden Reed, Josh Downs, Calvin Ridley, Chris Brazell, Cooper Kupp, Darnell Mooney is wide receiver room, and then Tyler Warren, Rondé Gadsden, and Pat Freiermuth. Finally, Mr. Mufasa, 3-6-9-2, Caleb, Bryce Young, Shador Sanders, Devon Achane, Trevor Hubbard, David Montgomery, Sean Tucker, Brian Robinson Jr., Ray Davis. So, one like elite anchor, but Hubbard and Montgomery feel, should have usable situations. Tucker, I think, is a pretty good RB2 right now. We'll see where Brian Robinson Jr. ends up, and Ray Davis, one of the best handcuff backs there are. Justin Jefferson, Lad McConkey, Rome Odunze, QJ, Godwin, Romeo Doubs. That's a super strong wide receiver room. Even adds more in Jalen McMillan, Malik Washington, and Jeremy Bernard. So some upside plays late as well. Just need 2 tight ends when you have Loveland and Likely. And, that big Caleb stack, I think, is really, really fun as well. So good drafts, fun drafts. We're in Combine Week. A lot of more news coming out. So appreciate everyone for joining. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. And I will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thanks everyone for drafting with me. Thanks everyone for chatting. A lot of fun. Hope you have a great day.